Hey everybody, Scruffed here. Welcome back to Kinlaig and our Tales of the Highlands series. I don't know what's going on, I will be honest, and that's always a good way to start an episode, just by, being out completely open and saying, I have no clue what's going on. It's August, and it's been snowing since July. Now, I know it's Scotland after all, and the rain is quite prominent, let's just say that in the series. I've had a lot of rain. But I didn't expect to get snow in August and in the end of July to the point where we've got snow on the ground. Now, I know it's raining and we've got a bit of snow. We've got a bit of sun later on, but it's -2 out there in August. Oh my God, I feel so sorry for people in Scotland if this is the norm, which I don't think it is. I don't think it's quite this bad. But then again, it's probably snowed at some point in Scotland in August. Hey, there's a wolf. Just randomly. That reminds me, actually, I've had a lot of questions about the wildlife because they see buffaloes in the video, they see elks and foxes and wolves, and it's basically an add-on that's basically some extra files that add on to the wildlife in the game. It's like something you have to put into the base game files yourself. It is on King Mods, so just go on there, search for the addition. I think it's called like additional wildlife. If you just search for that, you can follow the link to do it. You can follow the instructions to do it. It's all up board. It's original. That website I've mentioned a few times. It's a little bit dodgy because it's flooded with converted mods basically. And what I mean by that is some modders are taking. Well, I don't even know if you call them modders. You basically just take mods from past generation of games that. And convert them to FS25. And while that's probably good because you're getting more options, they've not got permission for it from the people that have actually made them in the first place, and that's just a shame because it puts modders off, and that's why we get less and less modders working on mods. So basically, I never plug that site normally anymore. Never put any links into it in my Discord on here, and all I ever say to anyone is if you're going onto it. And because there is some mods on there that have been uploaded by the mod author, and they are legit, and that's the problem. So it's just finding that it's just finding them, and also making sure that you're confident that it is legitimate, been put on by the original mod author. Because some modders like to use King mods, and that's up to them. And I still happily will go on there and have a look, but I just don't want to. Kind of promote it in my videos anymore because of the fact that it's just so problematic. And if you go on there and see something, download it, and you think you're doing the right thing, and it's a minefield, and then you're just going to get caught at some point, and that's the problem. So, if you are interested in getting these additional wildlife, just jump onto King Mods and search for it. But I'm not going to put the link in my video description for the reasons that I've just stated. Yeah, but anyway, back into the winter wonderland in summertime, which is just interesting, and it's also perfect timing because we are in August and we did exactly what I said I was going to do in the last episode. So have a look at the map. I launched out this field, combined one over here, so that's all good. I also went over and put some lime to get the pH sorted, so we're all set on all the fields now. And my plan was in this episode to put some manure down, a slurry. That I have noticed as well isn't giving me as much as it did before, and I've checked the realistic livestock mod and I haven't changed it or updated it, so it still should pump out a lot. Don't get me wrong, it's still giving me quite a bit, but 9,000 is less than what it should be. So I don't know if something's overriding that somewhere, but we're not getting the amount that I would like to. So I'm going to have to find a way again of increasing story numbers and also the numbers of the manure as well. Quick update on the animals. We've had some baby calves, which is cool. We've had 3, in fact, from 1 pregnancy, so that was let's just say a big achievement. But yeah, we've got 1 that's female, 1 Angus female, which strangely has been born infertile. So luckily, we're not going to breed off this one. We're going to, rear it for meat basically. But yeah, she's infertile. These two in the meat, 2 Angus calves. So again, for meat. the males breeding with the females, because it just doesn't. It just says non-compatible basically. So we don't have to worry about separating them or segregating them in any way. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist there. I have put a load of feed in. I've put TMR in. It's consumed quite a bit already. Yeah, I literally did that in the previous day, so the last day in July, and we've shot down already. Manure's going up slowly. Slurry's going up slowly. I think it was at 5,000. So we've had 4,000 in three sleeps. So this will be day 3 since that. So not as much as I was getting before, and also straw's not going down quick enough for me, for my liking, because I want to consume it. I want to, the whole point of this series is to have a lot of inputs and outputs. Basically, I want the cows to consume a lot of feed. I want them to give off. I want them to take a lot of straw, but I also want them to give back a lot of manure, a lot of muck, a lot of slurry. And yeah, I'm not too fussed about the milk. I happily keep the milk the way it's set in the realistic livestock mod. I just want more inputs and more outputs, so I'm more hands-on with the animals. So I'm going to have to find I'm going to have to fine-tune it again. It's strange because I did it and it was working, but something must be overriding it somewhere. So I've got to figure that out. Yeah, I mean, the sheep are fine. Just leave them be. It seems like they're just quite happy. And you can see that the meadow grass has gone up, but I did put some TMR in because we jumped down. So I put one feed mix TMR for the dairy stock as well. But then now the meadow grass has shot up, even though it snowed. So again, strange. But we got a bit of manure, a bit of slurry in there, so we could technically go and do what my original plan was, which is I wanted to go. If we look at the nitrogen, I wanted to go across these 3 fields with either muck or slurry, and basically get them to a good state to then start planting in. Now, talking about crop types, I've decided we're going to stick with like an arable crop to get some, probably some straw off. So I think maybe 22, and this big field we're going to put oats in, something a bit different than the barley. And we have got, if we look at the red tape mod, you can see that there is a policy of crop rotation, so we do need to make sure that we're constantly rotating through the crops. We can't just keep growing barley like we've done this time around. So I'm going to put oats in. Now, field 23, I'm actually going to put corn in and do some maize, which, again, because I've not got the Maize Plus mod, which, by the way, I think is close. I'm not 100% certain on that. It's just I've noticed that Alien Paul's been doing some streams, some British streams, and it's got a logo on his thumbnail that actually says coming 2025. So, well, it's November now. We're getting close to the end of 2025. So, fingers crossed, it's close. That's what I'd hope for it anyway. But we'll have to just wait and see on that. But it might be close, and then we can actually do maize silage. But we're going to be doing it for silage. We'll get chaff, put it in the bunker. That will also benefit us because we're not wrapping bales. And again, one of our schemes this time is reduced bale wrapping. So we can make sure that we get a reward for not doing that. Well, not doing the wrap bales. So yeah, that's my plan going forward. However, it snowed. So that's kind of put a bit of a, spanner in the works, let's just say. And yeah, I think I'm going to do something that I didn't expect to do until winter. And it's really convenient because it was my suggestion that has been implemented into the red tape mod, which is spreading salt. And it's a policy, or a scheme, should I say, that comes up and appears when it's been snowing. And that's actually happened. So I thought we should try that out. If the snow then disappears, we could go and, spread some muck or something, or slurry, because it is raining and it could disappear. But it is -1. So it's not like it's warm enough to melt. So I imagine at some point it's just going to disappear like it always does. It's a nasty thing that is in the game. And I think nasty is the right word, because it is just so abrupt that all of a sudden you just see this wave of snow disappearing. It's not like it gradually decreases and it's not very natural to see as a player in game. It just all of a sudden is there and then it's not. So, it'd be a nice improvement maybe in future games that we could see that gradual melting of snow, maybe even water on the ground after it, even if it's not raining like now. That would be interesting. I also found an issue with this thing. This thing, in fact, is mental. And it's definitely this mulcher. And I think the only way to showcase it now, I have jumped out the game and come back in, so watch it not work now, or watch it, the problem not be there. But basically, it's got the weirdest collisions ever. There you go. You see that? So it's colliding with things on the ground, almost like terrain decals. And it's only this. It's only the mulcher. It's got some strange stuff going on with it, and I'm going to have to get rid of it. Also, it's got a mind of its own. So, there you go. We've got a ghost mulcher. I mean, I don't even know what to say with it. It's just crazy. I mean, I unhitched from it, and then it started moving on its own. There you go. It's going the other way now. And, yeah. I thought if I bought like a robotic automatic mulcher that just does it on its own, a bit like one of them hoovers you can get in your house that you just plug in, just goes round. So then I thought, no, I can't deal with this. I'm going to have to sell it at some point and swap it out. So that's one thing I'm definitely going to have to swap out. I also mentioned as well about swapping out the wheel loader. Now, don't get me wrong, I love that wheel loader. I do. It's actually a stunning mod that's been made there and kind of suits this map a lot. But I found something else. Well, I say a lot. It's a bit of a lie, actually. I've been sent something else that's I've used an FS25 and Mark Thor did for me, and it's the Scroft JCB load-all. It's the Farmhand load-all, the original one by George. It's even got the stop faffing stickers in, and I'd love to have that in this series. So I actually think as well, if we sell the current wheel loader and swap it in, we'll make a profit. Got a bit of lag going on currently. It might be the snow. So yeah, like that is so I think it might be the way to go. But let's get some salt spread on the roads, because yeah, we've got that that's popped up with the red tape mod. And before we pick up like the scheme, before we pick it up, the scheme that we have to activate, that'll give us the spreader, and we need to also buy some salt, and that's got to come out of our own pockets. I'll also show you the red tape because we've gone into another month. We've had some more updates, and I've also accepted another scheme. Now, it was probably the best month I've had for the red tape mod because I got no fines, no penalty kind of points. If anything, I gained more points and have gone up in the tier system. And I don't think it's going to be difficult at all to kind of maintain the maximum tier, which again, well, it should give us the maximum reward. So I'm very happy with it. But let's just stand indoors and have a quick look at the red tape mod, and I'll show you what I'm on about. We'll start off with the policies. We'll go through again. This is all the same. Crop rotation, not an issue. This has changed a little bit in numbers just because of the fact we've got more cows going into the beef shed because we've had 3 calves. So that's gone down, I think, a touch. But you can see that we're still we're still comfortably above the 9 there and the 12 on them too. I'd say these two here are our closest ones. So the sheep shed, or the sheep barn, sorry, which is right next to the beef shed. So the ones that are closest to each other, they're the ones we've got to keep an eye on. But 41 to 12 is still comfortable. 23 to 9 is getting a little bit close on the sheep barn. So we've got to make sure that, we've got to make sure basically that when we have the lambs, we take them quick. And I think that's the culprit originally when I got penalised. Because if you think of all them sheep that I've taken out to the outdoor sheep pasture, they were also inside at one point. And yeah, it must have been that shed that was getting, I think it was basically it was under, the 9 metres per sheep. And that's what it's telling me there, so. Now, this is all the same. I've still not been penalised for these 2 trees, which actually was branches, so hopefully that gets sorted out. And you can see that it's every June and December that fines will occur, so we're probably going to get fines for these 2 in December. Now, I will report that. I need to remember to make a note of that and report that to Oz. So I'm just going to write this down. I know, not ideal, but it means I'll remember. And then looking through the rest, everything's pretty much how it should be. Now, this is the new one. This is the new scheme. We'll go back to that in a second. But I want to just quickly show that we've got 3 active. We've got the original ones, which is the reduced bale wrapping and natural grazing. But we've got a new one, which is the natural fertiliser. And I thought it'd be perfect for us because we want to do this, don't we? We want to use this more than we use the synthetic alternatives. So it says here, a scheme to encourage the use of natural fertilisers such as manure, slurry and digestate. You will receive a bonus for the amount of natural fertilisers you use compared to the synthetic alternatives. We'll get an evaluation in September, which is next month, and the report will show the usage of natural and other fertilisers during the last month. So we'll have the natural here, which will be like manure, slurry, digestate. If we use all 3, it'll just stack on top as the total number. The other fertilizer usage, though, that is going to be for like liquid fertilizer, which we are going to use on our crops eventually. But I want it to give, basically, I want to have the starting point of the fields higher, so we use less of the synthetics or the liquid fertilizer, because we don't need to go as far up. That's the aim with it. And if we still use, you know, every time we use slurry and manure, we're going to get rewarded for it. So it's a no-brainer. So that's where we're at with that. Tax is changed, definitely, because I've got 98,000 expenses now, 66,000. With, you know, the changes that I did with the mulcher, and also we're paying every month £1,000 with fees for, like, if we look here, you've got fees for this good stuff. So the monitor, yeah, we've got fees for putting all the monitors on. You can see that every month this is how much we pay for each individual shed or pasture or whatever it is to have monitor tags on the animals. So that's actually that's actually a deduction. You can see where I'm setting up over here. But these are the last 3 months really, because I set up, didn't I? This is when I set up all the series. So that's from there. It's all skewed. I put the red tape mod on around here. So we've got what, 14,000 minus 11 and minus there. But you can see that monthly, the monitor subscriptions are £1,000, and that's pretty much our main fee currently coming out. So if we go back to the scheme and the new one, you can see this one, which I'm proper proud of. Even though I didn't do this, it was an idea I had that shared with Oz, and he's done it so quick. But you can see road snow clearing. So it says, in light of recent snowfall, the local council asking farmers to spread salt to help keep the roads clear and safe. The following equipment will be provided for the duration of the scheme. So I'm going to select it. I didn't notice as well. I got like tiers, because it said that it was, basically we had snow right at the end of July. You can see it sort of popped up. Road snow clearing tier A, tier B, tier C, tier D. Now, I think the current one is tier D. I don't know what that means. I haven't got a clue, to be honest, but we'll select it and we can pick up our item. And now if we just buy some salt, we should be able to just, go around clearing, spreading salt on the road. So I'm going to take, like, probably going to drive, like, the main circular route, I'd say. Like, if we are, where are we now? We are here. So if I just go down here, up across here, all the way up here, might even go this way, back down to this route, all the way down here, come down to this section, back around and over to this section, or even I could take a loop, like a full loop, and come back here. I think that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to see how much I get rewarded for it. So we need to make sure we've got the right amount of salt for starters, because I don't know how far it's going to take me. It almost makes me feel like I should have a way of carrying some salt at the same time, because I don't know this salt spreader how much. It doesn't look like it's going to hold too much, does it? So it would be nice if I could get a way of just carrying a bit of salt, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. So yeah, I mean, what we could do, I was thinking we could have someone following us, but that sounds like a proper pain. I'll tell you what, let's just fill up as much as we can do and then go from there. Let's go down to consumables, objects. We want road salt, 4,000, and that's 800. So I hope I get paid more than that, even though I can stack these for next time. But I just got a feeling it's not going to go far at all. I mean, basically it's one. Yeah, I don't think it is going to go far at all. So let's see how far we go with this. I'll put it on a time lapse, but I don't want to be coming back and forth. I'd rather just carry on, but I think I'm going to need, well, I'd need at least a front loader, because we could carry some. Now, luckily, it's not going down too quick, is it? And we're still flying at 31 miles an hour, so you never know. This might work out surprisingly well. We'll see how far we get.
Man, I always had stories about the city life and the crazy nights. Figure I should probably give it a try. Maybe check it out, see what it's all about. traffic was fast and the money was slow. The people I met you never get to know. I kinda miss this place I used to live back home. 'Cause up here it's breakneck, paycheck, rat race, what's next? I'm tired of feeling like a small fish in a big pond. I think I'll go back where I came from, where everybody knows my name. My friends are still the same. I guess the slow life is just right, like a bonfire on a cold night. Hell, and you can keep your 9 to 5. Happy with the simple life. Yeah, I ain't here to try to change your mind, trying to save your time, in case you're thinking about breaking out the bucket list. Girl, you can skip this funny business. 'Cause up there it's complicated and overrated. Down here everything is understated. That's alright by me. I got everything that I need, but there is breakneck, paycheck, rat race, what's next? I'm tired of feeling like a small fish in a big pond. I think I'll go back where I came from, where everybody knows my name. All my friends are still the same. I guess the slow life hit me just right, like a bonfire on a cool night. Yeah, you can keep your 9 to 5, 'cause I'm happy with the simple life.
Section up here, down to this, down here, took this, then went up there, knew, realised I went the wrong way, come back down on myself, took this main road all the way down here, went up my farm track, then went down this way, and then went like that, which was a strange way of doing it. I should have carried on and then kind of gone back on myself, and then down here, but anyway, I worked myself to hit this section, carried on down the main road, up to here and here, on and back to the dealership, and literally went to zero. It went so far with that spread. I actually think that spread is possibly one of my favourite spreaders to the results. So yeah, I mean, I'll leave them fullbacks here, but I'm interested to see, like, if we've had just any information on the scheme. So our active ones, road snow clear. So I don't think we'll get an evaluation till September, but you know, I'm quite happy. I've done, you know, a fair section there. So I think we just need the snow to clear off now. So I'll drive back. Yeah, I'll drive back, part this up. I'll probably sleep into the next in-game day and see if the snow's gone. It should do. We haven't got any more snow forecast. We've got a bit of sunshine on the horizon as well after the rain. So yeah, we'll see where we're at there, because I want to get at least one field spread for this episode. It was my original plan, snow, and change that up. And yeah, just so the video's not too long, I think if we do one field, we can always finish off the rest before the next episode. Welcome back, everybody. We are into Hunt's Day 2. I've pretty much got back. I got hooked up to the tanker, put some slurry in it, and then I'm just fueling up now. I slept before it, went into August day 2, and we got paid. Because the snow cleared off, the scheme was completed. You can see that it says here, a scheme has ended. But look at this one. The road snow clearing scheme paid you £20,000. Now, I will mention to Oz that even though I did quite a lot, I don't know if 20,000's... basically, 20,000 is way too much. If it paid me like 4,000, I think I'd be like, that's pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. But 20,000 is it's a vast amount. It's so easy to earn. So I think personally needs to make an adjustment there. Definitely needs to make an adjustment, in fact. So I'll speak to Oz and I'll send him that info over. But I love the fact I can do that. Even if I earn 4,000, 5,000 from it, it's a lot of money still. A lot more than what you get in real life situation if you were ever asked to do that by the council. You still earn some good cash, obviously. You probably get paid by the hour and it'd be a good rate because of the job you're doing. But still, £20,000, that is a lot of cash. That is a lot of cash. I don't even know if that's taxable. I think schemes are taxable. I'm pretty certain, yeah. Anything you earn from off a scheme or a policy is, you don't have to put that as a profit. I'm pretty sure of it. Or even an expense, I imagine, with the fines. So yeah. But man, that is pretty insane. In fact, it's definitely insane. So that's some good cash, £20,000 there. So we may as well go buy that thing at this point if we're making that kind of money. But it probably won't be like that when the mod comes out. Definitely. But anyway, let's go and spread some luck. We've got 20,000 litres in this tanker, full tank of fuel as well. I think I'll leave this one because it's a big field. I think I'll go and do the field just across that we're going to be doing mazing. I think that's probably the perfect size to end off this episode. But man, I'm well over the moon with that, and it worked because I was worried that when the snow disappeared, the scheme said it had ended, and I was thinking, will I get paid for it? Do I have to wait for the next month or something, or will I not get paid for it? But the fact that I got 20,000 means I definitely got paid for it, and I got paid a lot more than I thought I was going to get. I mean, it's good cash. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Because this is the thing that's going to help Oz out the most, not just my suggestion, but it's feedback from you guys watching. What would you say for the amount of work I just did? What was it, like maybe 20 minutes of driving around at about 31 miles an hour? I mean, what would you say is a reasonable price on normal difficulty? And I don't know if the difficulty has an effect on the red tape. I'll have to ask that question because it'd be interesting to know if it does. But like, yeah, what would you say would be reasonable? I think about 4,000, or depending on what you've done. If I'd done an extra, say I did the extra side of the map that I missed near where all the proper city is in the port area or the town or whatever you want to call it. If I'd done all that and earned 4,000, I'd say that was about fair. So I'd say for that, about £3,000 is probably where I'd think is the sweet spot. But let me know in the comment section. Do you think £3,000 would be too low for that? Would it not be enough of an incentive for you? Because I still think £3,000, good money in this game for doing a job like that. But 20,000, think about all the work you have to put into for a field and the amount you get off and yield on normal difficulty, and then when you sell it and everything, even at the best time. Say I did this field, I'd probably get about 25,000 from the crop. Maybe a bit more depending on what I'm growing. So yeah, I think it's definitely a bit steep. But that's the whole point of testing. And Oz has made it clear that these numbers are going to need tweaking here and there, and this is the whole point of us finding it out. So it's something believable and not going to be... Because if you get too much, you might be like, I'm not going to do that again. It's too easy. You might think, if it's too hard, I'm not going to do that again. There wasn't enough of a reward. So it is about finding the balance in a sweet spot between the two. Right, come on. This has definitely got to fly up here. It's 280 horsepower, I think. She looks like she's struggling so far. But we will get this field done. I think I've got enough slurry to do this whole field. I think I have. I've just used 20,000 litres, and that is a lot. So we might be shy. These definitely need a bit of feed. might have, yeah, technically one more full tank of slurry to put on the ground, and then I've also got, I've probably got a load, maybe two, a load of muck, so it might get there, it might not, we'll have to see. But 5 miles an hour up an hill with 280 horsepower, come on New Orleans, you can fly up here.
Step by step, I've walked 100 miles, and I still ain't sure just what I'm trying so hard to find. The night seems longer and the wind blows louder when you wander so far from home. If I cross your mind, say a prayer, I'll find my way and get off of this lonely road.
Can you hear me? Tell me, can you hear me? I've been calling out for help, still don't see nobody near me. I'm down and almost underground and so deep in the valley, I can't even tell you which way is the mountain. God, the only word I got, I could probably plant a garden, all this dirt I got. Trail of broken hearts behind me from the hurt I bought. Sometimes I really start to wonder if I deserve my spot. Cause I'm just a man who's got blood all on his hands. But does a humble sinner still deserve a chance? Hey, say a prayer for me, I think you would
Step
advance.
by step, I've walked 100 miles, and I still ain't sure just what I'm trying so hard to find. The night seems longer and the wind blows louder when you wander so far from home. If I cross your mind, say a prayer, I'll find my way and get off of this lonely road.
Off of this lonely road, off of this lonely road, off of this lonely road, off of this lonely
Get off of this lonely road.
Would you catch me? Tell me, would you catch me if I told you I was sorry? Could I fall into your blessing? Would you wrap your arms around me? Never drown me. If I walk towards the light, could I tell him that you found me? God, the only help I got. I know some people plotting on me, probably thought I'd rot. Praying for my downfall, wanna take my spot. Guess I deserve it, all the evil came on my heart. But I'm just a man who's got blood all on his hands. But does a humble sinner still deserve a chance? Hey, take me up, I pray to God I never land.
Step, I've walked 100 miles, and I still ain't sure just what I'm trying so hard to find. The night seems longer and the wind blows louder. If I cross your mind, say a prayer, I'll find my way and get off of this lonely road.
Off of this lonely road, off of this lonely road, off of this lonely road, off of this lonely
Get
road.
off of this lonely road. And get off of this lonely road.
I nearly got that perfect then. Nearly. There's a tiny section. And I mean, it's so small that I'm not even going to go back in the field. So I'm happy with it. But we hit, that's two things now that have pretty much been bang on. In fact, it doesn't even show it. Could be that section there, but when you can see how patchy it is, and that's just because it's slurry and it's less homogenised. But I'm quite happy with that. That's pretty much the majority of the slurry on the farm. We've got a bit left in the, we've got a bit left where the dairy cows are. But if we take it out now of the slurry store, let's say, of the dairy shed, put it into the tanker, next month when it does an evaluation on the amount that we're holding, the average should go down because you're not holding anything for slurry. So it should go down. It might be a good way of like some stored in the tanker if you're not, it's like an extra storage point. It's, I mean, I'm just doing this, it makes my life a bit easier now that I've got both of these now completely empty of slurry. And if we go into this, start off with our beef shed, you can see the slurry's empty, dairy shed can't see for some reason. There it is. Bloody hell, I was going blind. Yeah, April. So again, we've got plenty of time to get these fields, put some muck on and get them up to fertilise. So, and getting, you know, that first layer of fertilising done. So I'm quite happy with that, to be honest. I think it's been a very productive episode. A bit of a mixed bag as well, because I didn't expect to do anything really like this. I didn't expect going around spreading salt for the snow, but we have done, and it's been nice to test out. We know that we get a big reward for it, and I'll mention to Oz that that needs adjusting, so apologies to anyone that's looking for a good cash payday. By the time the mod's out, maybe that won't be the case, but you never know. It could be. Let's reload this thing because it's really bugging me. So let's where is the placeables? It's that. So we want to reload placeables. Why has it got reload wall light? Is that because of where I am? If I do it now, will it? Yeah, ground stain. So there we go. It reloads all the placeables, which I think could be the problem I'm having with like productivity, but you never know, it might not be. So that's ground stain 5 again. Just seeing where I could stand so it actually notices this as reload slurry hose. Ground stain 5. Yeah, it seems like it's not noticing this shed, unfortunately, which would be nice. Let's try it here. Yeah, ground stain 5, which basically is just one of the ground stains that I've put down. There's quite a few of them, but I'm hoping that it would have picked up this. I mean, this is the most prominent placeable right now. We definitely... Just thinking, if I get on the roof, we'll do a bit of parkour. You ready? Parkour. Hey, that worked. Dairy shed, there you go. So we could reload it from here. Successfully reloaded XML and i3Ds of one placeable. So if we do stand on the roof, we can reload it, and then obviously the cows should go back down. I don't know what's going on. Must be helium that's coming off and not methane, if you know what I'm saying. Whilst I'm standing on here, though, this is a perfect spot for me to end the episode. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed it this time around. It's been fun. Honestly, I'm really enjoying the red tape mod. I think it is a true game changer, and I can't wait for everyone else to play it. And you never know, if things do work out, we might be getting the red tape mod around Christmas. Fingers crossed. Just depends on testing and how many things it wants to add in and change. But it's worth the wait. But if it does come around that time, and we also get Maze Plus around that time, we could be having like what I think FS25 peak is going to be at, because we need these kind of mods to just set the tone for next year. And then if maps like Whitcomb come out and things like that, God, you know, the future's looking bright for FS25. If you like playing like this, and also like playing on British maps as well. So yeah, looking forward to all that stuff coming out. And I know by speaking to Oxy today a few times, in fact, I've got to go and send him some info right after this that's to do with Whitcomb, because there's something on that map that's going to be really cool for the farmhand. And yeah, I'm going to help him come up with a name for it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. But honestly, can't wait for all this stuff to come out. There's some excellent modders changing the game for the better for us players, and I think we can all just tip our hats and salute them for what they do, because without them we'd be bloody lost, and I don't think a lot of us will be playing the game for as long as we do. You know, it takes two to tango, as they say. Giants being a major part of that for developing the game, but without the modders, I don't think Giants would be in the state they're in now, which is a positive state. And the same goes for modders. If we didn't have Giants, we wouldn't have the game. So I think it's like a great recipe that works out for us players in the end. But I'll leave it there. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for me, and I'll see you all in the next one. See you, everybody. So let's strap that down, just so we know for certain that she's going to stay there. And we'll go get 4 more. So what we all thinking about the year 2 season pass? I have not done any content on it. I got the information last week and was going to do some. I was really busy Monday, Tuesday, and yeah, I didn't put anything out. But I think, like, looking at it, I know a lot of people have said like Spain, Italy, but I've got a feeling it looks like South America. It looks more South America to me than Spain and Italy. So I'm going to go with that. That's going to be my guess. I think we're having a DLC that's or a map basically that's in South America. Now, if you've noticed as well, the original price of the year 1 season pass when it launched was about €45. This is about 35, so €10 cheaper, and we're not going to be getting a third quarter pack. So it's going to be first quarter, second quarter, and then a fourth quarter big expansion. Now I'm hoping that is because it's going to be the last, technically, like little DLC, DLC pack, except the expansion at the end that brings us into FS28. So if they're going to use the time to focus more on FS28, then I'm all for it. But yeah, just to confirm, the Season 2 pass is not going to be 4 quarters. It's going to be 3 technically. So you'll get first quarter a DLC, second quarter a DLC, third quarter no DLC, but then in the fourth and final quarter you'll get your expansion, which looks to me like a South American map. So I'm expecting maybe some like different types of crop, like coffee, for example, South America. We could also get some animal types. It made me think the other day, like one thing that I've never actually heard too much of people requesting, but turkey farms. Like, we could have turkeys in the game and breed them out like for meat production. So I don't know if that's a big thing in South America, but it did make me think, like, turkey farms, that's something that could be added in, and it wouldn't be out of place, would it, if we had like turkeys, because it's a big thing, especially around Christmas time. Right, so that just needs to sit there. Then bales at the back end are moving on their own, which I don't like. Makes me nervous. And I think we got 2 left. We're definitely not going to fit 5 on. If I didn't have this rail at the back, I probably could have plonked one down, couldn't I? So maybe I can adjust that and take that off, because there is a way, because there is an option to adjust that. So I might take that back one off just so I can fit 5 on there. But we'll have to come back. We'll strap this down and put these away first. I mean, that's a strange setup for the straps. So I'm just going to make it look a little bit more even. That'll do. Right, let's drive this back first, and then we'll unload them and stack them away.
Voice inside my head isn't dead, I think it's growing. Soon we will be one and the same. I've been going to the racetrack, spent all my money on the dog in the bed. I put my heart into an 8-track, how about that? My life was perfect, now it's starting
happy, but a little bit nervous. They look like the ground's just not level. So I probably should level out this ground. It's because of all these bits and bobs, these stones and stuff. So, yeah. But they're not moving, are they? Too much. Anyway, every now and again they're bobbing about the place, but I feel like they're better than what they were. Can you see that I used the... it's called the massy twine, but basically it's just red. I prefer it on the straw bales and hay bales. But these are the ones that I spawned in at the start to start me off. Ones with the white, twine on, or the bale string, whatever you want to call it. And then, we'll use that going forward. It could change it up. There's like the blue option, the white option. So I don't mind really, as long as it matches somewhat the bale that I'm using. I think I used the Massey, or I used New Holland or something like that. I'd have to check. But it's done, and that's the main thing. I didn't actually take the trailer back out to get the two loads, or basically the last 8 bales. I used the load. Yeah, I used the JCB wheel loader. I am going to look at swapping that out soon. I have got an alternative that I think might be perfect for this series, so we'll keep an eye on that, definitely. But there's a couple of things I want to do before I end the episode. I know it's just not been too hectic in this one. We've not done loads. But I do want to go and take the... Yeah, I do want to go take the topper. That's not that. That's our power harrow. It's over here. Yeah, I want to take this topper or a mulcher. It's so small. It's tiny. 2.8 meters. We're going to get something a little bit better than that. But there's another thing that I want to do that I actually missed and overlooked. And I've seen a few people point it out to me. And I thought, if I've overlooked it, maybe someone else has. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to showcase this. But basically, with the fences or the walls and hedges and stuff like that we get in the DLC, we have some options to place down, as you've seen me do. I mean, these ones here don't come with the base kit, with the way this map's set up. I have placed a few of them down myself. But there is alternatives to it, which look pretty good, like broken wall sections and stuff. So I thought what we'd do is just mix it up a little bit. We'll find first the walls that give us the option. There's one here, but if we change the segment, you can see we've actually got fences in there, but also like a wall section that's kind of like just not very good. Not in a good shape. So I was thinking, like, if we just put a few gaps and bits and bobs around. I don't know if there's one for that segment of wall. I'll have to check. So let's just put it here for now. And go from there. So we want this. So if I put it like there and like that, you can see. Now I've got this broken wall segment to it. So yeah, I completely missed that. Almost embarrassingly. But it does look pretty good, doesn't it? And if you put them in, like in staggered areas, it'll look pretty good. So I'll do that at some point. I'll like mix them up, but for now we'll leave it there. But let's just check this wall as well, because there's 2 types. I know we've got the hedges. Let's have a look at the segment of the hedges, because I know there's smaller ones, or it almost looks like they need to grow. And then again, you've got the gates and stuff like that. But where is there a segment for this one? Yeah, there is. There's a nice gate to it, or entrance. There we go. So we have got segments to this, but it's a gate again. So there isn't any broken wall segments, but there is a nice gate to that. Like, I like the look of that. That looks pretty cool. So we could use that at some point. But yeah, this wall doesn't have any broken segments to it, but this one clearly does, and it looks good. I like it. So yeah, just wanted to point that out because I completely overlooked it. Anyway, let's take this and swap it out for something a bit better. Now, I did check to see if I had the manual attachment mod on by buying gaming, and I didn't. So the backing up and attaching to like that trailer that what was the header trailer, wasn't it? Was to do with the manual attachment mod, which is really strange because I didn't think it did that in 22, so that has been added in. But at the same time, as it's been added in by Buying Gaming. So, yeah, I don't know if I've missed it in 22, which I doubt because, you know, I used it quite a lot. But yeah, it's an option, I guess, with some trailer types where we can back up to it and attach, which is really weird because I've always wanted it to be like that when you're using a hitch, because you know you can hitch up to an object in cab and then you can, yeah, you know, you have to get out, put your hydraulic hoses in, then you put your PTO in and stuff like that. And sometimes, and you really do need to get out for 3-point linkage in a way, because sometimes, you know, it's much easier to get out of cab to do it because you have to line them up and all that good stuff, and sometimes you have to adjust the way that they're situated because they might be too like inwards, or you know, you might need to send them outwards, the two arms of the 3-point linkage, so not the top arm, the side arms. So I get that we need to get out majority of the time, but there is situations like when you're hooking up to a trailer, you know, the hook hitch on that is something that we can attach to it in cab. So I'd like it to be like that personally, but it's confusing because it's like they've added it in, but for things that wouldn't be stuff that we'd stay in cab for, because that was definitely not a hook hitch. So I don't know, unless I'm missing something, which you know, there's a high probability I am. Anyway, let's just sell this. What we're going to get for it? 11,500. So that's that done. Up to 56,000. Wait a minute, let's just check something. Let's go to... Let's have a look at our tax. So yeah, the taxable income's now 65. It's gone down. But we are going to spend more money, so... Yeah, that's irrelevant. Let's go into the store and just pick up something that's a lot bigger than that, because we have got the juice under the bonnet, and I'm finding that that's the tractor that I keep going to just because it's got the most horsepower, and it makes you know, easy work of most of the jobs. Yeah, and then at least in the next episode I can either skip through and make sure I do the mulching and the spreading, so the lime, so when we can start planting in. We're gonna have to cut grass again at some point, probably make some silage and bring it into the bunker. I think that might be the best bet, or we can even make some more hay. I definitely think silage, though, we're going to need more of. In fact, we probably need more silage and hay. So that's the one we just sold. This one's 4.7, which I actually think is probably the best option currently. We've got a 6-metre one there. I don't think there's anything except this. I mean, 30 metres for that. But I almost feel like that's more of a... It's definitely not a mulcher, is it? It's more of a... Like, even that's not a mulcher. Not really. It looks more like a harrow of some sorts. And then these ones again aren't that big. I mean, 4.7 is not a bad size. 6 metre be good. 130 horsepower. And that looks more like a mulcher. So why don't we go with that one? I think that's probably the best bet. There we go. And I did put on as well the second-hand mod. So second-hand brand new, let's call it. So if I do want to get like a harvester and improve from this TX62 and move up to this TC590, which I think looks really good. I mean, I like it like that, to be honest. Oh, I don't know. Do we go with the old decal or the new? Let's just go with the new because it looks good. And there is a gold edition, but I definitely don't want that. Animations. We'll go with full on animations. Doesn't really make a difference, but I think that's probably the best bet. And if we go find used, we can tell it to go on a search for it, and we can get it second-hand, you see, a lot cheaper. So I think that's something we need to do. We won't do it yet, but we will do it at some point, definitely. Well, this is pretty cool because you can attach... So I can attach it both ways or attach something to it. So that might come in handy if we want to do like a more efficient pass where we do 2 things in one pass. Could be like we mulch and then maybe cultivate after or something like that, which if you'd need to, especially if you haven't got a direct seeder. Because if you haven't got a direct seeder, it's all right mulching, but you've got to cultivate after so you can plant in. But I think it looks pretty good. I think it's definitely going to make things a lot easier for us. 6 meters from 2.8 is a decent step up. Just got to keep an eye on our money though. 39,800. We're not going to get a tax bill because we're nowhere near anything like a profit. But we still need money to survive and get through and buy everything we're going to need. So yeah, we can't get rid of everything, can we? I am going to make another entrance down this side of the field. I feel like every time I want to get into the field, it's... Yeah, I feel like every time I want to get into the field, this end, I have to drive too far. I have to drive up, so it would be good to get maybe another entrance. Just trying to think, maybe like down this section here off the road would be good. Or there. I just have to think of the angles because it can become a bit of a pain. So I think that's probably the most level. I think, let's put it here. Let's go for this section. Let's just take that out for now, and then after, you know, I can put something in, like maybe that wooden gate looks pretty nice, so we can put that in. Yeah, we'll plonk that wooden gate in. Let's just check this works. There we go. Happy days. So everything's mulching, and it's going to be an easier job for us and a more efficient job. So I'll leave that there, and we either do that in the next episode, or I'll get it done and we'll jump in and we'll keep moving forward. Have we got any floating cows yet? It looks like... Is that one floating a little bit up there? Might be floating a tad. Yeah, it is. It's a shame about this. It's definitely a giant's issue. Definitely a giant's issue. But oh well. It's not too much of a problem, is it? It's, you know, at least we can reset it, you know, if it gets too crazy. I also need to check as well, because I have updated the realistic livestock mod, and I think because of that, I've gone back to like the default values for producing manure and slurry. And if that is the case, and I'll need to adjust that back because I've noticed we're not making as much as we were before. So I want it to be a heavy focus in this series where I'm using a lot of manure, a lot of slurry, and almost like relying on that for every kind of crop, for every field, even if it's a grass field, you know, or an arable field. I'd love to have the option to put that on each field as we get going. Let's just check the nitrogen values. You can see these two are good because of the slurry that I put on that and the muck that I put on that. But I'd like to set these ones up. Now that I've put, you know, with this one especially, like these two, they've had pH, they've been mulched and everything like that. You know, before we plant, we could put some muck down or even some slurry down on these fields. Same with these two that are combined into this big one. We could do the same. So everything's at a decent set, maybe like around 80 kilograms per hectare. And then on top is like your natural as you fertilize, like spraying and everything like that. So yeah, I think that's got to be the option. So I need to go in again and adjust the values because yeah, they've reset back to what they were. I'd love that to be a kind of separate mod that keeps it. Or, you know what I would love? I'd love Arrow to add it into the settings. Like how we've got food scale at 200%. It'd be nice to have like an output, like an output scale. So not the input, which is the food. It'd be good to have an output scale to do with like manure and slurry, so it's producing more. I think that'd be a really useful tool because I know a lot of people from comments and stuff and agreeing with me in Discord are on the same kind of wavelength, which is they'd like to get more slurry, like it to go further, like it to be more active. We're not, so it's not just not producing enough scrawny cows allowing us to get the numbers you need for the field you've got. So that's why I changed it, that's why I adjusted it. So we've just got the option to go out and do more much rather than slurry spread. So I'll have a look at that now. We'll jump through into July day 2 and we'll see if we can prep in the fields. I'm looking at the time as well, it's normally around planting season. So we could start working and getting some crops in the ground around August, because I think we can do more into September. So yeah, we can have a look. I mean, currently we can plant carrots, a winter cover crop, if we want to put that in already. And that's pretty much it. We can't we? Because everything else is a harvest. So I think we need to probably set the fields, get a bit more muck, and maybe skip through into August. That could be an idea. I'll get the fields mulched and spread with lime, and then we'll move into August for the next next episode and have a look at, you know, what we're getting with the red tape mod. But I'm also going to make some adjustments to the realistic livestock mod again, so I can get some more slurry and muck, and maybe we can go around the fields and put some slurry down and muck down before we start planting it. I think that might be the wisest decision moving into August. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, give it a thumbs up for me. It really does help me out. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this one. Follow me some later. See you, everybody. Hey everybody, Scrofty here. Welcome back to Let's Play series on Kinlaig using the red tape mod. If you've not seen the last episode, I do recommend going and watching that, because it gives you a load of information that I don't really want to be going over again, because it was a lot of information, like an hour long worth of rambling to kind of explain what's going on. So yeah, go watch that, because it's important to how I'm directing the series. So it's going to be a challenge. But finally getting some farming done. I'm going to do some muck spreading. I'm going to go over quickly a couple of the schemes that I've actually accepted, which is going to be important to, probably going to be important to like the animal side of thing, and also some baling as well. So we'll go over that in a second. But yeah, muck spreading is the first task. I did take the final ram as well from out of here, so they're all out in the field. It's just the ones that...
That he's got to bring the car back to the pits, and he has an issue. Antonelli over the line and to 7th position.
So this is the time to have an issue if you're Sonoda. We're still a fair way off anyone putting on a set of slicks in anger at the moment, even if someone might dare to have a bit of an explore. Behrman leaves the pits, but he's still on the inters, it looks like. At some point, they've got to go for it, because there's no point. There's no point, surely, just keeping the slicks, throwing them away. At some point, they might, in 38 minutes' time, or the next 20 minutes, think and see if there's something to be had on slicks. But just not yet. There's enough time to bide at the moment and wait and see what comes to them later on. If the track, just a little bit of that moisture goes. Problem is, as you said, it's not exactly a hairdryer effect out there at the moment. 13 degrees. It's less windy than it was yesterday as well. Car's circulating a bit, but it just doesn't dry very quickly in these conditions, and that's what everyone's finding. So Sonoda, under pressure for a seat. Laurent Mekies came in for the Belgian Grand Prix, which seemed to be a reprieve for Sonoda. Seemed to give him a new lease of life in that seat. He responded quite well, and has obviously worked with Laurent before. I've looked through his average qualifying deficit to Max Verstappen compared to Sergio Perez last year, out of interest. So Checo's joining the grid again next year with Cadillac, and it seemed like kind of all was forgiven for Perez this year, because he has now watched, as we all have, Liam Lawson jump into that second Red Bull seat, have a horrible time, to the extent that after just 2 races he was dropped and put into to this team, Racing Bulls, where Arvid Lindblad will be hoping to potentially join for next year. And that promoted Sonoda. Sonoda has really struggled as well, and I said yesterday, Brazil was about as bad as it could get for him. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. But actually in the 9 races that he's had, compared to Perez last year, when Mekies has been the team principal, they're very similar in their qualifying deficits.
Okay.
Half a second Sonoda has been off Verstappen.
And that's been about common for teammates?
Yeah.
Max Verstappen?
Very similar to Pierre Gasly, very similar to Alex Albon, very similar in the end to Sergio Perez. In fact, Checo, for the same 9 races last year, was 0.45 away. So it was fractionally better by hundredths, but it was similar, and that was with Checo having actually out-qualified Verstappen in Baku, being right there in Monza. So some of the deficits that Checo had were bigger than Yuki's. the field is more compact now. So a half a second gap when Verstappen was teammates with Gasly or Albon, it didn't look so horrendous, particularly for Albon when the Red Bull was competitive and Albon could. He didn't shine at Red Bull. He lost his seat eventually, but would still be there fighting for points regularly. For Perez, when Red Bull were dominant and he was a few tenths away, he was still fighting for podiums. 2023, very strong year for Checo. Now the field is so close. Red Bull don't have the best car. Occasionally they do. Oh no, more rain. Occasionally they do, but the field is so tight that half a second means that Max can be fighting for pole and Yuki's out in Q1.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that he's doing way worse than anyone else in that seat before. And Red Bull, the management will see that as well.
And do you think that's behind them delaying their potential lineup, or do you think they've realistically decided to move on and they've just accepted it's a problem seat and they're going to give Hadjar another go?
So Hadjar will be there next year. I'm confident that Hadjar will be at Red Bull. They're still trying to work out what's going on with Racing Bulls. Bang over the curbs for Antonelli. They're still working out the Racing Bull seat, I think. So it's a really tricky one. We've seen Lindblad a couple of times. Young hot shoe prospect at Red Bull. Is he going to get a shot coming through? If he does, who's going to go, Lawson or Tsunoda? And it's very difficult to work out what Red Bull should do in this instance as well. Yuki's got that bit more experience. Liam has shown good flashes of promise in Racing Bulls this year, but would Yuki have done a much better job in the Racing Bulls had he stayed there? The decision is complex for Red Bull.
And the committee comprising who makes that decision, of course, has changed across the course of the season. So who ultimately has the final say? There's a lot of voices that go into that. I'm sure we will find out sooner rather than later, but a really interesting piece of information on the deficit that Yuki Tsunoda has had in comparison to previous occupants in the second Red Bull. Let's now send it, with 34 minutes of the session remaining, down to Ruth in the pit lane.
Jake, see, my favourite fact about the Red Bull second seat is both Kvyat, Gasly and Checo lost their seat when they were 0.63% off of Max Verstappen. It was always 0.63. It was like it was written in the contract. I fully agree with you. So F1 2024, average between first and last was only 1.3%, which if you turn that into a 100-metre sprint, if I was 1.3% slower than Usain Bolt, I'd do a world record of 9.7 seconds and I'd have 2 golds and 2 silver. Formula One, it puts you deadpan last. It's crazy, the margins, really, in Formula One, which is why every second of track time, even on these damp conditions, matters. And we heard on the radio that Yuki was no longer able to continue and extend that intermediate run. Now, like all good engineers that don't know exactly what's going on, I have been looking at where the most number of people have been. So there's no red lights, so there isn't a big problem with the power unit. And the majority of the engineers and mechanics have been looking at the rear back of the car. So we had quite a lot of work on the rear wing. Here we can have quite like skinny thin rear wings that come with their own mechanical constraints. And they took the bodywork off the car. However, I did also got a bit of a smiley wink from the lovely Paul Monaghan, he's in charge of build, which is basically engineer for, we're going to fix it and send it back out again. And we're now currently being moved, which I think is just going to be happening right now.
One moment a smiley wink, the next moment you're being moved out of the way. So good news for Yuki Tsunoda, heading out onto the circuit.
Things can turn around so quickly in Formula One, can't they?
I like that information from Ruth about the 0.63. If the deficit's 0.63, you're gone.
Send it back out again. And we're now currently being moved, which I think is just going to be happening right now.
One moment a smiley.
And what were they on again? Yeah, 24,000. So they've got enough to last them a couple of in-game days because, what, 10,000?
Only lap? That's probably about the average. So chuck Tsunoda in there as well. I don't know what the percentage is. I'm sorry. I've let you all down. maybe it's 0.63. I'll work it out.
Probably will be. Kimi Antonelli has set the fastest first sector of anyone so far. Lando Norris is on the soft tyre.
Here we go.
I don't know why we've reacted to it like it's the end of the Grand Prix, but it's It's been a fun session, Liz. Appreciate your company. Remember, zero risk. Why have you put the softs on the car then if you're looking for zero risk? This is the definition of all the risk. Even when you're the championship leader and you're a few races away from claiming your maiden title. Soft tyres on this surface right now, no matter how much talent you have, represents a risk. We are 2 hours, 31 minutes away from start of Q1.
Why have they done it? Why is Norris out there on a soft tyre? I thought someone might go for it eventually. I didn't think the championship leader would do it. So he gets the message from Will Joseph saying zero risk. But as you said, it's a soft tyre on a chilly day. The grip can just go away, and you can find you're building the speed. And on the inters, you have the grooves. The grooves move around, create temperature as well, and it comes up. On the slicks, sometimes if you catch a bit more moisture, as we saw in Brazil, you can lose the car in one sudden snap, and the barriers are there. So punchy from McLaren and from Norris, but a lot of fun for us on an FP3, isn't it?
This is one of the FP3s of the year. Thoroughly enjoying having the inside of the team. James Hinchcliffe, man of the people, nowhere near the executive suites. He's trackside for us. We've got Ruth Busker in the pit lane. I'm Alex Shakes, and now talking you round the first slick lap of the day is Joe Limpard.
So let's see what zero risk looks like with... whoa, it doesn't look like zero risk, I'll tell you that, as he's fishtailing coming out of turn 2. Keeps it so narrow on the exit of 3 and 4. Opens the DRS and then thinks, no, zero risk. Let's shut that one again and head down towards the braking zone for turn 5.
Going near that curve.
Yeah, plenty of margin for Norris. So 3 seconds away from Hamilton in the first sector. This is pretty low risk, but even then you could just see the moment that he had coming out of turn 2. You've got so much horsepower at your disposal. Just a small amount of throttle increase, and suddenly the car can swap ends. Here we go. Here we go.
Keep saying it. We'll get there in a minute.
Let's see what it looks. Oh, it doesn't look quite as dramatic from that angle. On the front one. Here we go.
Oh,
yeah, it's because the barrier's close there as well. It juts out. I'm sure Lando would think he probably had that under complete control. But when you hear zero risk and you see the car momentarily pointing to the barrier, I mean, a few inches away.
I had a friend when I used to play tennis as a teenager. He'd say, "Don't hit the net when I serve." It's typical nonsense, just trying to psych out your opponent, right? Okay, that is the equivalent of zero risk, by the way. You're on slicks.
Yeah.
You're 3 Grand Prix rounds away from winning your first title. Zero risk.
Soft tyre on Norris looks a mile off at the moment.
Brutal, Pete Bonington. Brutal review of Lando trying to build tyre temperature. It's been a great lap to watch, though.
I had a mate playing tennis. He said, you'd be really good if you just hit it in a bit more. Well, that's so encouraging.
I mean, not inaccurate.
Yeah, no, it's a really good bit of analysis from him.
Right, same corner again. Let's see how it looks for Lando Norris. Now he's got a little bit of knowledge of where the grip is. He absolutely adores these conditions. When a driver doesn't have a winning car, it's days like this where you see their raw skill behind the wheel. Lando Norris took his first ever pole position in Sochi in conditions like this. But he's learning all that he needs. He's the only one out there as well at this stage.
He's not, because Piastri's joined him. The McLaren guys having a bit of fun.
Over the road we go at 7. Don't worry about 8. We'll carry on.
Yeah, nice quick line through there. So the grip level's just not there at the moment. Lando scrabbling over that damper patch. You just see the difference in the tarmac surface, and then finds the drier section, and now he can start to wind it up, put some load through the car, get a bit of temperature into the tyres. And you're allowed to take a bit of risk in these sort of corners because it's not really risk at all. There's a nice bit of runoff that you can cut through. And that's the thing. The drivers are all computing when you can attack a bit more, when you've just got to be super cautious and straight line off the exit. Be very, very gentle. Caress the throttle pedal. No sudden movements, because that is the easiest way you're going to just light it up and put it in the barriers.
Right, Oscar Piastri's out there doing the same thing as well. Anything you can do, I can do better. The mentality between the top 2 contenders for the title, and the 2 drivers trying to replace Max Verstappen as the world champion. And now, Charles Leclerc as well. Weather alert is rain in 1 minute, which would be very, I want to say Charles in the wet, but he does seem to love a slick tyre gamble on a wet surface. as we saw at Silverstone earlier this year.
Slicks in the wet, enters in the dry. They can mix it up a little bit. Somewhere in between at the moment. The slicks they're able to be driven around, but not very successfully, as we heard the radio message before from Pete Bonington. Norris pits, Piastri stays out there. Let's see how Oscar attacks the first flying lap on the slick tyres. In towards turn 1, load on the car, nice bit of grease on the circuit, and he's having the same moment.
They'd easily fix the car before qualifying. It's just, you don't want to put your garage through it at this stage of the season at the beginning of a triple header.
More teams have gone out now on the slick, so they've seen McLaren's lead, and they just now want to explore what it's like. Can you get a time on, especially if the rain is now imminent? This is, if you're going to have it, you don't have the luxury of time anymore. If you want to try and run a soft tyre, this is it. Potentially now or never. It just surprises me why McLaren are the team with everything at stake for those two. Why they're the ones that are the one trying to dry it up. Normally you'd wait for the minnows further back, if there is such thing in F1 2025, anyone else to dry up the circuit. This time McLaren have grabbed the bull by the horns, and Piastri's getting his first time. Sweeping through. This car still looks quick coming through turn 11 there. You can see the dry up patches where it is working on the slicks, but you just have to keep crossing the damp stuff.
Right, let's get another trackside view with James, who's made his way, I believe, to turn 2. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this isn't. It's not what it looks like. No, guys, it's exactly what it looks like. What? I mean, come on. I've got a reputation to uphold here. I did find a very nice corporate suite to enjoy an incredible view right now from turn 2 as all these drivers are trying out the slicks for the first time. I cannot believe they made this decision, especially for McLaren to be the first ones to do it, because standing right here, guys, it looks so sketchy. Every driver that comes out of the pits, those first flying laps, one of the Red Bulls going by right now, even this little short burst between 2 and 3, they cannot get the power down. Turn 3 normally is barely a lift as you turn in. These cars are probably braking now going in. You can still see where it's dry down the middle. It is still damp. It is still quite wet for slick tires, but car after car, as we see Colapinto now, one of the later ones to do it, coming out here, trying to make it work. There is a lot of risk involved in this, but remember, these cars do have a lot of settings. These engine manufacturers can do a lot with things like the throttle shape, with torque delivery, to try to make it a little bit more manageable. Those 1,000 horsepower you're controlling with your right foot, but there is no traction control. They can make it easier, but ultimately it still comes down to what the driver is doing with the pedals. And just standing here watching, I can tell you the footwork at play right now on track is very impressive. They are dancing on these pedals to try to get some grip into these Pirelli tires.
Great viewpoint with a few added perks. Thank you, Hinch. I knew he'd deliver for us. Rush hour on the strip.
He could just sniff it out, can't he? That's why he was at turn 3 before. He thought, we'll head to the sweets afterwards. And what a great view. So he would have had a nice view. Piastri's moment looked bigger than Norris's as we had the replay as Hinch was talking. Hamilton's going quickly. Oh, too
quickly! And he manages to take evasive action. But nothing between his front left and the back of the car. And he gets away with it. But that's what it looks like when you're scrubbing off the speed from 200 miles per hour.
Well, the softs are now working, but only for Hamilton and not for the cars ahead, who are still trying to build the tyre temperature. Second flying lap that for Lewis. So he's actually having a good session here. He's back to the Hamilton of old right now, enjoying the slippery conditions. But my word, I don't know what he was expecting for those guys to jump off the line, but they're busy trying to find their own bit of space. I mean, they should be looking in the mirrors, but there's someone off the line there, and then the next 3 are all just heading in.
See what it looked like trackside. Hamilton's at the back of the pack.
So Verstappen. Oh, there's a moment where you think he's heading into the back of the Racing Bull there. Verstappen up the inside, and the drivers are all feeling out the soft tyres at that moment. They're not feeling like they're in the cut thrust of push laps, because they're all lapping in a similar bubble, those other guys. Piastri was well off the racing line, and Lewis comes in, finding the grip as his teammate has to go top and catches a load of drivers, basically napping.
Charles Leclerc, top of the pile. Yuki Tsunoda in the session. No issue preventing him. And second fastest, getting past the Haas. And everyone picking their way through at the moment. Any trip away from the racing line, though, is risky when you can see the state of the track still. This is turn 12 with Yuki Tsunoda that we've just made our way through. You can see the times being posted on the board. So Tsunoda, again, for whatever reason, having a very, very strong weekend compared to the really difficult time that he had back in Brazil. Charles Leclerc, Yuki Tsunoda, Max Verstappen, the top three. Hamilton was happy with FP1 and felt Ferrari would be competitive, something we have seen around here in the previous years of the layout. Charles Leclerc took the first pole position for the Las Vegas Grand Prix in 2023. Tsunoda over the line as his teammate. That's the fastest first sector of anyone so far.
Well, I mean, the fun is watching everyone obviously slide around. Verstappen now on softs and finding a bit of grip on a second flyer for him as well. But also heading towards qualifying, at this stage we're going to have no idea on the real pecking order. The red flag yesterday, which meant that Verstappen, Hamilton, Piastri didn't get accurate flying laps in. Other drivers didn't get subsequent flying laps in as well. So even Norris, who topped the session, maybe there was more to come from him. And at this rate, we're still a fair way. We're still 8 seconds away from the pace that Norris did yesterday. So we're a far cry from a gripped up, and even the drivers didn't think it was gripped up yesterday, but from where it should be, it's going to be anyone's game to try and work out the pecking order for qualifying at this rate.
Would you like to see a gripped up lap from Max Verstappen, because he is about to significantly lower the benchmark? Charles Leclerc is going again.
It's still not gripped up though. Norris yesterday's done 5 seconds ago.
And he goes over the line just at 2.7 seconds faster.
It is a lot better, isn't it? So it's a lot better, but it's the times are now coming down, but still Max is over 5 seconds away from the pace yesterday. But the temperatures need to build in the tyres, so everyone's just staying out and they're just pushing like it's race mode at the moment. Hamilton comes through with a decent first sector, but not the rest. Leclerc's finding time. It was a bit the case yesterday. Track evolution without the rain was pretty big, but now with the rain, you've got a double exponential situation. Track getting better and the moisture dissipating.
That is usually the ingredient for an incredible qualifying hour, and we are visor cam with Charles Leclerc continuing to log laps. The prospects were exciting enough anyway, with 3 going for the title. Everyone else with no concerns about that, but a keen battle for 6th place in the Constructors